Patience in trading is more than just a virtue, it's a survival tool. Without the proper analysis, those who rush into trades will find themselves losing more than the gains. Hey there, Tom here from Fibonacci-Traders.com here with the daily market recap. Please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, and without any further ado, let's see the charts. Amazon earnings came out. First reaction from the market, 11% to the upside, then minus 2% to the downside. After hours, 107.55 was the closing price after hours. Now all we have to do is wait and see tomorrow where price will take us. Overall, as you can see, trend lines are the true support resistance for price action, and until proven otherwise, Amazon is in an uptrend. We have an uptrend channel, Amazon inside. Until proven otherwise, Amazon is in an uptrend. Swing low, swing high, 107.73 needs to hold, otherwise 105.55, and we have all the levels to the downside, including this trend line. Follow price and use trend lines and Fibonacci levels to manage risk. SPY, after two consecutive bearish trend days, we got a very bullish trend day, and not surprising, if you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos in the past few weeks or so, you know this red trend line. This red trend line goes all the way back to August of 2022, and once again SPY bulls failed to close above this trend line. This is why I sound like a broken record, and this is why I always say trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. Fibonacci helps us to identify levels of support and resistance, but trend lines are the true roadmap for price action. QQQ went all the way up. And now, let's see, 322. Can we get a weekly close above it? And then, with high probability, we are going to retest this red trend line. Or will Amazon affect the QQQ, and the Qs will go back down, retesting the 317, 315. And after 315 to the downside, we have all the levels to follow as future support. IWM holding the 170. This 170 is a very important level of support, as you can see. Now holding once again. Let's see if IWM can bounce all the way to this gap over here, because we know that more than 80% of all gaps will get filled throughout time. But overall, we can see IWM since middle of March basically moving inside a very tight price range between the 170 to the downside, 180 to the upside. So until we don't get a major move below 170 or above 180, including this red trend line, we sit on hands and we wait. Patience is a virtue. Dow Jones almost back to this red trend line. As you can see, this trend line also goes all the way back to December of 2022, and furthermore, it goes to January of 2022, and each and every time since then, price tried and got rejected. So we are waiting for the bulls of Dow Jones to break up above this red trend line together with the 340, and then we might get a short squeeze all the way towards 355, in my opinion, of course. And everything you see and hear in this video and on my channel in general is my opinion. It's for educational purposes only. Always do your own due diligence. Never follow blindly anyone on social media, paid or free services. In the end of the day, it's your money. You need to take care of your money. Bitcoin, perfect example of why trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. You know these trend lines because you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos. These trend lines, we drew them few weeks back, and they are still our roadmap to the future. As you can see, support, resistance. Breaking above this red trend line, high probability this one will be next. Breaking below this red trend line, orange and maybe yellow are next. Follow price and use trend lines as your roadmap to the future. Ethereum 1930 is a tough resistance. 1800 needs to hold. 1800 will break if it will break to the downside. 17, 16 and maybe all the way to 1500. If you're a pattern seeker, pattern trader, we can see some kind of a head and shoulders in the making. We have the left shoulder, head, and maybe here we're starting to see the right shoulder. But Fibonacci traders, we don't trust and we don't follow patterns because patterns are not reliable. The only thing we do is follow price and use levels and trend lines to manage our risk. SMH holding the 238, 240 area, as you can see, was a very important level of support. Now bulls trying to defend it. Let's see if they can bounce back up, and then we have all the levels to the upside for future resistance. Breaking below the 238, 232 together with this yellow trend line is next support. AAPL looks like AAPL is carrying the market. AAPL, Microsoft, all the big names are carrying the market on their shoulders. AAPL leading. Finally, looks like AAPL is going to break and close a wick above this red trend line together with the 168. This red trend line goes all the way back to January of 2022, and as we can see in the past, each and every time price got rejected. Also here a few days ago, a week or so ago. Now AAPL bulls looks like they have enough power to close above it. Let's see tomorrow, one more day to this week. Weekly close above this red trend line and the 168, and then we are going for this gap at the 171. Meta, another gap to the downside. So many gaps on Meta, but looks like Meta bulls are going for this void to the upside all the way to 316. We have a earnings gap, a doji of the 240. Now let's see where price will take us. Back to the downside, closing this gap, we have 233, and we have also here the 222 to the downside. Microsoft bulls finally breaking up above this red trend line, above the 303. Now we are looking for continuation towards the 316 and the 320. These are the next resistance for Microsoft to the future, and we have also this gap, slight gap over here that needs to get filled. The gap at 310. Google broadening formation. Basically, let's see continuation above the 109. Google very strong. 109 to the upside, and then we can say with high probability price will go retest this red trend line, and we have 103 together with this red trend line as support. Netflix trying to avoid this red trend line because bulls know that if this red trend line will break to the downside, 304 and maybe 293 to the downside will be next. But as we can also see, 327 is a very tough resistance. So now all we have to do is sit and wait. Long continuation, in my opinion, above 336. Then we have 350 to the upside. Short, a weekly close below this red trend line and below the 313. NVDA basically moving sideways, nothing much on NVDA since March 22. As you can see, Since then, 265 to the downside, 280 to the upside, basically moving sideways. Long continuation above 280. Short, in my opinion, below 265 and a weekly close, because this is not a daily movement. This is already 1 month sideways move. So 1 day to the upside or 1 day to the downside will not change the overall sentiment. We need at least 2, 3, 4 days to the upside or 2, 3 days to the downside. Then we can take decision. Tesla, as we can see, bulls are fighting with all they have to avoid this gap. In my opinion, we will not get any major move from Tesla until this gap will get filled, and the sooner the better. We also have this gap to the upside. Let's see where Tesla is taking us. What do you think? Are we going to close this gap to the upside and then this gap to the downside, or are we going to finally close this gap and then bounce towards this gap and back to this red trend line? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? AMD, nothing much on AMD. We can take swing low, swing high, 85 to the downside together with this yellow trend line as support. Now 88 from resistance to support. Now once again resistance. Overall in the short term since middle of March, AMD is in a downtrend. This red trend line is not validated anymore, got negated. Now let's see a bounce back above the 88. Long continuation, in my opinion, only above 91. All we have to do, follow price, use levels and trend lines to manage our risk. If you want to take your trading journey to the next level and become your own indicator, stop following others and truly understand with high probability where price might be headed next, whether it's crypto, stocks, ETFs, forex, any time frame, day trading, swing trading, long-term holding. It all comes down to understand in-depth candlestick analysis and the relationship with trend lines and Fibonacci. No other indicators are truly needed, because all other indicators, without any exceptions, they are all lagging. Check the links in the description below. We have one-on-one mentorship program or the pre-recorded. Same program, but pre-recorded 6 hours, 49 lessons. My promise to you, first, lifetime access for support, guidance, and of course, all Discord channels. Until you will say, I don't need anyone else, I can do it by myself. Check the links in the description below for further information. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, we'll appreciate if you just like, subscribe, share with friends. And don't forget to check the links in the description below for more educational resources. Until the next video, stay safe.